Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of Midweek Matters. In fact, the last edition of Midweek Matters for a while, Charlie.
For a few weeks, yeah. I'm off to Europe, have a good time. But we've got a really great show replacing it, Jimmy. The Rugby League Round Table, which we've recorded.
The Rugby League Not So Round Table.
Yeah, it's a rectangle, isn't it? And that's why our studio looks a bit different at the moment. People have been asking for the old studio back with the couches, but we needed more of a serious setup for the big show that's come through. Am I allowed to say who it is yet, or you still want to keep your powder dry?
Yeah, let's keep it dry. But there's a current NRL head coach at one of the top teams, a current NRL captain, one of the leading journalists in the NRL, and we've got a a former CEO that's won multiple premierships.
Yeah, and multiple clubs. So he's been 3-time CEO at different clubs. So he's a great thinker of the game.
He sure is. And we've got 10 of the hottest topics surrounding our great game of rugby league.
Yeah.
And difference of opinion on how we move forward with those topics, how we tackle them, what changes can we implement, what we're going to keep as the same.
It's brilliant though. Like, we've recorded most of them, recorded a couple more today, but it's very good. No, if I don't say so myself.
Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've taken a lot of pleasure in that. I'm sat there, sort of trying to steer the conversation. I'm kind of like, is this really happening? This is quite good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something for our listeners to look forward to. Dropping next Wednesday. So the structure of the show will be have an interview show out this weekend. On Sunday, that will be Laurie Daly. Fascinating conversation with him.
Coming out this morning as well Sunday morning because of grand final being in the evening.
Yes, so that comes out Sunday. Then we've got Jam and Cheese Monday.
Yeah, grand final recap.
That will be released on Tuesday morning.
No, Monday. We'll get it out as quick as we can.
Get it out Monday, so you can enjoy that on your public holiday.
Yep.
And then, Wednesday, it all kicks off. The Rugby League Not So Round Table.
Can't wait for it, Jimmy. I actually have to bring something up, though. I have received a few text messages that you limped off a five-a-side football field last night with a hamstring injury. Is that true or not true?
The hamstring is a little bit on the tight side, Charlie.
How did it happen? Were you going full pace, or did your explosions go on? Has it?
Look, I was never an explosive athlete, but just that competitive nature just tried too hard. It was good though. It was good fun.
What do you play? You play sort of a sweeping centre back role, sort of clean up, do the dirty work at the back.
In five-a-side, it's everyone's job to defend and attack.
Yeah. So you do a bit of everything.
Jack of all trade. Bit goalie every now and then.
I could see you as a goalie. I don't know. There's something about goalies, isn't there? Like their temperament, like especially like if you're playing like over 45 soccer. Like my dad still plays soccer in his 45s, and there's a guy rocks up in his keeper every week. It's like, geez, you gotta love keeping. To be rocking up every single weekend, standing in the goal, not doing anything, just like every now and again making a save, and you're not really that athletic anymore. You're not really making very good saves.
Well, it's all about being part of a team, Charlie.
That's it, isn't it?
I think that's what it comes down to, and also the liquid refreshment after the game. So, you got to use your brain. Or, can I just leave the house on a Sunday for 2 hours? Probably not. But I've got this excuse. I go and sit around with my mates, make a couple of saves, have a few beers after it. I mean, all about the.
And he probably has a moment once a year where he has a good save, where his athleticism
and
come
everyone's
back.
jumping on him like, well done, fucking great save there, mate. And then he blows up. Come on, where are you, boys? Nothing better than seeing a keeper make a good save and then blow up at his defenders. Like, you're like, well, relax.
Also, I should say, before we move on to the actual footy stuff, there's a survey that's going on, which I know you're really passionate about. You really want listeners to get involved.
To be honest, I didn't know it was happening.
But if you have a spare minute, it's just there's a survey in our podcast link, YouTube link, wherever you're watching it. And if you had some time to take that, it takes about a minute or two.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's really going to be helpful. No, but if Charlie says it's important, then it's important.
All right, Rockbusters then, Jimmy. Your one, it proved to be a little bit too easy.
Well, the idea is that people get it.
Yeah, I know, but it was a little bit too easy. We had probably about 150 messages getting it.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, what was it?
It was what Dwayne Johnson thinks about what a cherry is. Oh, and then he gives you the wrong answer.
Yeah.
So Dwayne Johnson Rock.
Yep.
Rock. O'Berry.
Yeah.
Rock O'Berry. So
That was a good one. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I didn't get it myself, but
says a lot.
I've got two.
Obviously.
I've got two. I don't know which one to give to you. I'll give you this one. Okay. A man's boy is sitting in an average car. A man's boy is sitting in an average car.
A man's boy. So it's obviously someone's son. A man's boy
is sitting in an average car. And then the one for the listeners is a herb in a shit colour. A herb in a shit colour.
Yeah, I'm struggling with both of those.
Mm.
My brain's not fully engaged.
We're recording very early compared to when we normally would as well. So that's understandable.
Yeah, we can.
Do you want to have a think about that? Sort of.
I will definitely have a think about that, Charlie. Yes.
Perfect. Well, Jimmy, there's only one place to start the show, as we always like to do with this.
How do you feel, Jimmy? Let's find out. Thanks to Tui's.
And Jimmy, we've got to start with the Dally M's. They were on last night. We didn't go to it. Did you enjoy doing the Dally M's?
I was playing five-a-side, so I got back and seen the team of the year and all that jazz. I mean, look, it's not really my cup of tea.
I hate those sorts of award nights.
Yeah,
the only fun is like the after party.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just not really for me. Oh, what you're wearing? It's a bit like. Look, I get that we want to celebrate our players. But I reckon deep down, none of those players want to be there.
Yeah. Except maybe Kalen Ponga.
Yeah, well,
he would have enjoyed it. He was down by 5 points going into the last game.
It'd be better if it was like wearing a suit and a black tie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah. There's something fun though about putting on a tuxedo though. You got the bow tie, you know.
Well, that's where we
look
differ.
good, feel good, act good.
Yeah. That's where we differ, Charlie.
But Kalen Ponga, he was down by 5 points going to the last game of the season. He got the full 6. He got the new system now. You can earn 6 points in a game. And everyone thought Shaun Johnson was going to win it, but Ponga has snuck home. He only actually played 18 regular season games, and he still has managed to claim the award. It's a huge effort by him and just sort of shows how good an end to the year he had.
Yeah, and obviously, like these sorts of awards, people are going to have their difference of opinion and criticise the new system or whatever it may be. But, I mean, it's not worth losing any sleep over, is it? It's not worth typing things on a keyboard or a phone. Like, save your energy. He won it. That's part of the system. He's had an excellent season. Thoroughly enjoyed watching him play, and he was clearly the reason why the night went so well. And like Shaun Johnson, look, I think both of those lads in reflection could have won it. Kalen, I guess, came out of nowhere because of those injuries at the start of the season. I think probably not playing Origin has really helped his cause as well. So, look, it's been a big 12, 18 months for Kalen Ponga, hasn't it? When we're close to retirement with not close to retirement.
But people were talking about that. They were speculating
again,
that, yeah.
People tossing that up. But, Kalen obviously had his issues, come back strong. And, delighted for him to take out the Dally M. And obviously joined on the podium by his Newcastle Knights NRLW team teammate in Tamika Upton. So
she's become sort of the best player in the game.
She's a bit of a class above at the minute. Well done to Kalen Ponga. Well done to Andrew Webster as well, Coach of the Year. That's a big call. I think that was the more interesting one. Like, what were they going to reward? The trajectory of the unexpected, unfancied, unknown Warriors coach, or go with Kevy Walters, who got Brisbane back on the map and playing in a grand final at least. Who knows? We'll see if they win it. Or Coach Ivan Cleary, that's just replicated success. He lost both of his assistants last year, Cam Serraldo, Andrew Webster, who won it, and he's had to step up. He's brought new people in.
I would prefer Ivan Cleary to get it personally.
Why?
Because I think what they've actually achieved is incredible. They lost 2 of maybe their top, would you say, their top 4 or 5 players in Happy Coruscant, Villarma kick out, and they still won the minor premiership.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, but for me, like, that was I could anticipate that happening at the start of the season, and obviously that's a difficult thing to do.
Could you anticipate them getting the minor premiership after they lost to St Helens? They lost the first game of the year.
Yeah, it was probably, I thought they were coming back to the pack a little bit.
Yeah.
But, mate, what the Warriors have achieved over there, Charlie, mate, there's just, I still can't figure it out.
Mm.
Do you know? So you know, with Penrith now, it goes, oh yeah, well that makes sense.
Yeah.
With the Broncos, yeah, it makes sense. With the Warriors, it still doesn't make any sense. And you know, us as pundits, we go, oh, the reason why it's because X, Y, Z. It's kind of like they've tapped into the community, which is big.
Mm.
But
we did. I reckon we underestimated their roster though. Like Shaun Johnson, we didn't expect Shaun Johnson's bounce back this year.
No, yeah, exactly. So that comes from the coach.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But like Fanua Blake's one of the best front rowers in the game. They had Dallin Martinez-Lesniak ended up being the Dalian winger of the year. You know, Wade Egan's a good player.
Wade Egan's excellent player.
Their back rowers are good. They made some good buys in Wright Niokore. Mitch Barnett's become a great front rower. Like
Mitch Barnett at Newcastle was just...
he was all right at Newcastle.
But mate, nowhere near like he's playing now.
No.
Jackson Ford, mate, like...
Yeah, Jackson
Ford. He couldn't get a run at the Dragons.
Yeah.
Was not even considered... I know Fordy pretty well, and his agent rang me and like who's looked after me and was like, mate, how do you reckon Fordy would go in England? I was like, mate, yeah, but you'd kill it.
Yeah,
like
right.
I really like Jackson Ford.
Yeah.
But he was really struggling, took up this opportunity at the Warriors, and you know, he's embraced being over there.
Yeah. Well, they've got the other thing they've got in their favour, the Warriors, they've got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck coming next year.
Who's not guaranteed to be fullback.
No, I reckon he'll probably end up playing centre or wing.
Mate, that's incredible. Chance Nickel Cluckstart, take a bow, lad.
Yeah.
Because many players would just go, Roger's coming. And kick stones. He's gone up, if anything.
Yeah, I reckon they're set up to keep this run going for. Obviously Shaun Johnson's probably got you can maybe get 2 or 3 more years out of him at this level.
Well, experienced halves now are the halves to go to, as opposed to, well, obviously Nathan Cleary is a little bit different case, but you know, all things considered, it seems like experience is the most important aspects of Johnson. Has that experience, and he's not playing that explosive style anymore. He's a bit more game management and structure and finding the right pass, kicking game, all that sort of stuff. Some effort areas. So
Luke Metcalf was a big loss for them at the end of the year as well.
Well, there's another one. How's Andrew Webster got him playing as well as he has? Like, always had that little bit of potential.
Yeah. Sharks will be, I think we spoke about this before, Sharks will be gutted they lost him because Moylan's struggling to make their team now. That was who they chose over him.
Rookie of the year, Taruva. Well done. I don't think anyone can argue with that.
He wasn't going to be playing much this year. He killed it in the World Cup over in Fiji, for Fiji, and then he wasn't meant to be playing much. Taylor May had that wing spot locked in, does his ACL. Taruva comes in, the Panthers production line. Like, it's just incredible.
I forgot about that. He's a weapon.
Yeah.
Like, the way he just carries the ball back. Like, no one's even in front of him.
What do they do next year then with him and May? Because Crichton's leaving. Can one of them play centre? They've obviously got Alamotti coming in as well. Peachy's still there.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I don't know. A lot of those centre wingers are interchangeable. Some of them aren't. They're pure out and out. I guess I've never seen Taruva in the centres or May in the centres, so I don't know.
They're both guns though. Like Taylor May is a freak.
Yeah, you can't. Like the way Taruva's played this year. One of those two can't be playing Reggie.
Nah.
It wouldn't be fair on the other lads in the reserve team. Don't know. It's something for Ivan Cleary to ponder over in the off season.
Captain of the year was Adam Reynolds as well.
Yeah,
Good on him.
I think that's fair enough. He deserves it as well. Again, you look at Brisbane passing every test. Last year they fell off a cliff around the State of Origin time, and they've managed to keep that going. And also the sort of credit that Reynolds gets from his teammates. So like you get a real vibe that he's. Yeah, it's clear the impact that he's having as an experienced leader and captain.
Well, that Dally M recap's all thanks to Tui's. How do you feel? I feel like a Tui's or two.
Or two.
And Ponga's definitely earned himself for Tui's, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'll have a couple of.
He'll have a few. Enjoy the off-season.
Caelan Ponga, he certainly has earned himself a couple of Tui's, Charlie.
Enjoy, Caelan. But let's talk about the grand final, Jimmy. It's finally here. I reckon it's the best grand final we've had in front of us for a few years now. It's going to be one of the absolute greats. 2 informed clubs, both fully fit, no suspensions.
That's a big one. Both teams are fresh, fit, and
informed.
Yeah, that's right. And it promises to be a really entertaining game. The grand final, I think most pundits, friends of the game, neutral fans, they wanted to see.
Just quickly on the punditry stuff. You don't like being called a pundit, do you?
I don't mind being called a pundit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because also, and I've when we were in Brisbane, a lot of people coming up to you saying you're their favourite pundit rather than player. How have you found that transition now? Where people come to you and you're a pundit rather than a player. You happy with that?
Well, it'd be weird if they were like they thought I was still playing. Wouldn't
No, but you're my favourite player. You know, now you're my favourite pundit. You okay with all that?
Well, what am I going to do?
Well, I don't know.
It's life, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not what you said. You said you don't like being called a pundit.
No,
off cameras, now the cameras are on. No, I love being called a pundit.
Pundit's okay because it is, but I think there's other ways that people explain it,
like journo or like media,
media person.
Yeah,
like,
you're a media personality.
Yeah, but no.
All right, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Charlie.
Let's get back into it.
Look, this game is the dream NRL Grand Final. Volandis, Abdo, everybody at the NRL just went, yes. People working at Accor Stadium went, yes, this is the one. There's some teams in the playoffs that probably limped in that we, in an ideal world, and I'm not going to win any friends by saying this, but we wouldn't want to see them in a Grand Final because coming up against Penrith, they dominate them. The Broncos are the team that can beat the Panthers. They've proved that in round 1. And I think anyone that's got any knowledge of rugby league knows that this is the greatest threat to the Panthers three-peat, which makes for better viewing. For a neutral, for everybody involved in the game, I think that this makes for the better viewing. Now, all those other teams will say, well, hang on a minute. Well, we can beat them, the Tigers, so we can beat them. Like, look, in this big dance, the Penrith experience is vital. Like, we know that. Experience is key. Penrith choke teams out. We saw what happened to Parramatta last season. Like, I was all in for Parramatta. I was thinking, they can beat them. They've beaten them. They've shown many times how they can beat them. But in the grand final, within Charlie, we were at the game half an hour.
20 minutes, I reckon it was over.
Like, because of the way Penrith play.
Yeah. If I'm going to be
honest, don't give up leads, do they?
No.
They very seldom give up their leads, and they've got you in that. I use the analogy of like an anaconda where it wraps itself around you, and that's what Penrith do once they get into a lead. They wrap themselves around you, and anytime you try something, so you try and take a breath, they just squeeze a little bit more and squeeze a little bit more and just squeeze that life out of you. And that's exactly what they did to Parramatta, and then it's just a slow, painful death for the next 40 minutes, 60 minutes, and you're like, oh God, yeah, next year.
What they do, watching them in person, is in defence, they hit with so much more intensity than any other football club. Even Nathan Cleary, he smashes people in defence. Like, I think his defence is really underestimated, but the intensity with which they tackle compared to some other clubs, it's chalk and cheese.
Well, I think you know what the reason behind that is, Charlie, very high completion rate. So they've got energy to do that. The field position, that high completion rate puts you in, the boot of Nathan Cleary, and their ability to put. So they trust one another. So their middle three, as great as they are, they know they don't have to get behind the ball by play 2 because they trust their back 3 to get the meters forward. So they don't have to go as far back, so they can save energy. also they're completing high, so they conserve energy, so they can front load their energy with the defense. They box people into corners. They put them in really difficult positions to exit their own yardage game from. So, when you're defending shape and everyone's set to play, you can't front load your energy like Penrith do. But when you've got players boxed in a corner, you can tighten up. There's only one, maybe two options of who's going to get the football. You can go out and belt them. And that's what they do. And then you add into that, because they're so comfortable, the attention to detail. So their ability to discard, it's very similar to how the Melbourne Storm used to do it. So they come up out of the play the ball, push up to get up to marker, and it just buys you half a second. Their try-line defense principles are put players off angle. So what that means is when you get a player down, you don't let them face the sticks, because that's the quickest route to play the ball. You've got to be square to play the ball, right? So they just slightly off cue, or a different degree, a different angle. So then you've got to take time to get back to square to play the ball, which buys your defenders time. That's why they're so difficult to break down, because they always seem to have time on their own try line. That's the reason behind it. But fundamentally, it comes down to very, very high completion rate.
And that field position they get from that completion rate, they just destroy these teams. And
it's that all that cycle. And then what they do with the ball, they don't play like a boring style.
No, it's great watching. I reckon that's where people get so wrong. They get a lot of criticism for being like a boring, arrogant team. They're great to watch.
Yeah, they are. Like their attack is phenomenal. But again, they get in more positions, and it's that practice, that repetition. Like Isaiah, his ability to, right, I'm going to run the football. Oh, I'm going to play someone underneath. Oh no, I'm going to fire it out the back to Nathan. And he gets that balance perfectly. So as a defender, let's bear in mind, you've been under all that pressure because Penrith complete high, and then you've got to make decisions with the guy like Isaiah. So you're just mentally fatigued. What's he going to do? Like if I'm in that situation, I see Isaiah get the football, I've got to think he might be running. He might run across and drop someone off underneath. He might play square into me, and if he's doing that, actually, he's trying to do something to me here. He's trying to make me do something. So I'm thinking about that. It's not just, he's not trying to make me make a tackle. He's trying to make me 10 in, 10 out, do something. So your brain is just overcome with options, which makes it more difficult to, like that mental fatigue aspect, as well as you couple that in with the physical fatigue because of all the work that you've got to do and because you've been belted coming out your own end. Like, it just puts you in this state of just complete, it's like you're in a washing machine, just getting thrown around, and then you come out the other end and it's like, oh God, what just happened? I've spoke to a couple of players that have played against Penrith team, and they're like, mate, these guys, like, you don't know what it's like out there.
You would have played against this Penrith team in 2020?
Yeah, in 2020, yeah.
Was that the first year they met? Did they lose that grand final in 2020? They did. Yeah, they made the grand final. They had a great run, though. And then...
Yeah, we play playing for the Dragons, played them at Telstra, Jubilee Oval, at Cogra there.
Yep.
And we just lost the game, but you could tell they were
building,
turning into one of the big contenders. I think we lost by like 6 points.
Yeah,
but it was kind of nearly had them.
But since that year, they obviously lost the grand final, and they won 21, won 22, and every single year they lose a couple of players.
Yeah,
it's quite incredible what they've been able to achieve in the salary cap era, to be losing so many stars and still compete every year. And I mean, the next year they're losing Crichton and Spencer Leniu, another two players that at any other club would be considered devastating losses. I think everyone just assumes Penrith will be fine.
Yeah.
And they probably will be fine.
They will be.
Like, what they've achieved is so incredible. And I think this idea that they're really arrogant is so far off the mark. They're all actually quite sort of shy,
but again,
reserved
Charlie,
characters.
like, people will say that it's part of their identity. It's who they are. It's who they are, and they connect to their community, and they don't really care about what anyone has to say, if they like it or they dislike it. Tell you what, if anyone who is a Penrith fan, they like it. They get behind it. They enjoy people diving on top of each other in this little bit of, whether you call it swagger, I don't know, confidence. Yeah. People don't like it because they win. And they repeatedly win. And it's difficult to find an answer to how to overcome it.
Yeah.
So,
geez, talking about Penrith, like coming into this podcast, I was like, I reckon the Broncos are a chance.
I know.
The more you talk about it, I'm like, Penrith's going to win this.
I don't know. I've got a gut feeling about the Broncos. There's something I really like about them, but I think, we're going to take a quick break from the podcast to tell you about AG1, the daily foundational nutritional drink with all your needs in the one place. I like to look after my health, and AG1 takes care of that for me. No more tablets, vitamin pills, all the health, nutrition I need, all in the one place. Every single morning, it's as easy. Open up the fridge, scoop of AG1 in a glass, cold water, stir it with a fork, drink it. It tastes great, and it helps me know. It gives me the peace of mind that all my nutritional needs are taken care of, all in the one drink. It really is as simple as that. And also, anybody that knows anything about health benefits knows that it comes with adding simple routines to your day. It's not about magic pills. They're not going to work. AG1 helps me be the best version of myself by having this new habit of every single morning having that drink. I know my nutritional bases are covered thanks to AG1. A lot of athletes are now taking AG1, and with 75 high-quality ingredients, it's no wonder why. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/buy round. That's drinkag1.com/buy round. Check it out.
Well, June, before we move on to the Broncos, I want some messages for this club for you. I want you to imagine you're the coach in there addressing the team at Penrith. 2 messages for Penrith to focus on themselves, and 1 message that they need to focus on the opposition.
Yeah, so the key messages for me, Penrith, we see this time and time again. Well, coaches will have, bullet points, 3 key focus areas, because, all the information, you could go on for hours about all the detail. 3 things to focus on: the kick, the chase, the pressure. Let's put Arthurs, Cobbo and Walsh under as much pressure as possible. It's their first grand final as a back 3. They're young, they're exciting, but let's turn the heat up on them. Arthur's made an error, I think, in the first couple of moments of that Warriors game.
Bounced back well after
He did
that.
bounce back well, but the Warriors allowed them to bounce back well. Penrith, no. They're not, like I say, they choke you out. They put you under pressure, and they don't release that pressure. So that's a big thing around putting the Brisbane Broncos players in unfamiliar territory. And then that goes to the next point, and it links in experience. Choke them out. Let's just keep doing what we do. Know the difficult situations. We don't really need to change too much. We're not going to change anything in our attack. We don't need trick plays. We just need to use our experience to choke them out, to suffocate them, and watch them implode. And then I think, obviously, you'd look at points of opposition. Penrith would be well aware, like most teams, offloads are are very difficult to defend and very dangerous to concede. So it's going to be a hot day out there. So you look to conserve energy, and you've got to focus on stopping the offload, because that's where Brisbane looked really dangerous, and it's where Parramatta have exploited Penrith in the past. When they've beaten them, it's been long kicks for Mitchell Moses, which there's not really that much you can do about, but that'll be more of a message into the back 3. But as a team collective, we've got to stop the offload. We've got to hit first contact, stop the offload. If it does happen, then what do we do? Because we'll be naive to think that it won't come. They're going to zip it out to Walsh. We've got to have a plan for that. That's going to be the highlight of, because I hate all this, just focus on us. It's bullshit. Well, if you're focusing on yourself, like it's just part of the bullshit. Some of the things the athletes say. Of course they're focusing on the opposition.
Yeah.
Of course they're paying attention to what they can do.
They've possibly been focusing on Penrith, on Broncos for the last 3 weeks because it's been sort of destined that this would be this grand final.
So the attention to detail on the offload, what they need to do, it's impossible to go in saying you're going to stop them, you're going to limit them, and then know what to do and react off the back of that.
I love it, Jimmy. Broncos then. All the talk's been about Adam Reynolds and what an incredible buy he is. I think they're saying if he wins, he's as good a buy as Lazarus. I reckon he doesn't need to win to be as good a buy as Lazarus because the turnaround that's happened since he came to the club, the culture that has changed in Broncos, all these young players who needed that little bit of experience to guide them, and he's done such a good job, and here they are, grand final. Yeah.
It was interesting to see the signs up there last week, thanks Souths. So, yeah, look, much will get made of that. I don't know if Souths, you look back at the decision and go,
well Souths missed the 8 this year. Broncos are in the grand final.
Yeah, I know, but this isn't a knock at South. I don't think.
No, but it was a mistake. You could say that it was a mistake. Of course, it was a mistake.
I don't know. Just because he's doing well at the Broncos, it's a mistake on what?
Well, it's just if they had maybe more of an experienced half, it might be what they're missing.
Maybe
because also
that's another chat for another show.
Yep. All right.
But Adam Reynolds, what he's managed to do there, the kicking game of him is vital. That frees up the other players that can do all the brilliant stuff that they do. He's the father figure of that team when they're on the field. He's the coach on the field, which is vitally important, and his experience.
The impact on Reece Walsh is massive as well.
Yeah, with Reece Walsh, I think he's probably an Adam Reynolds, probably one of the only ones that he listens to. So he respects what he says. So I've seen Reece Walsh on the field in that Warriors game. Tony Staggs was like slightly out of sync, and Reece Walsh has gone at him, like give him a bit of a spray. Staggs has come back and he's kind of whatever, and Staggs is within his right to fire back, but I don't know if Reece was particularly receptive to the feedback. But with Adam Reynolds is the one to say, like, mate, come here, like we can't afford to do that. But yeah, Adam, the importance of good kicking game, field position, and the way Renault will take the ball into the line, organise the game. Then Walsh, Ezra Mam, who's a young 5'8", they don't have to stress or worry about that because they can focus on what they do well, knowing that Reynolds will do his job and he'll look after all those important aspects of the game. And then I can, if you're Reece Walsh, Ezra Mam, like you're just going, well, I'll just act on instinct. I don't need to worry about what's going on, where the field position is. I can just do the do.
And they do certainly do the do. The pace of which they play with is incredible. Like some of that try where Walsh just emerged out of nowhere. I can't remember who passed him, but he just zipped onto it.
Well, they went a bit of the Brisbane tactic there, where it's like middle three. I think they went Haas, Flegler, Carrigan. I think it was a Flegler off somewhere in that order. One of that order. I think the last run was Flegler. Late offload, ball comes to one of the Brisbane players, just fires it over to Reece Walsh, and the defence were just going, "Oh no, this is horrendous." And then Walsh just went, "See you later." Hit the afterburners. No chance in hell of tackling him, catching him. And then Billy Walters was there backing up on the inside, and it was a pretty incredible try to watch.
Yeah.
And that's what you can do. Walsh, you can do that. You can focus. You can lurk out wide while the middle three are getting it. Or you can go in and look for an offload. But I think they know and it's a good tactic for Brisbane to have. Sometimes you see fullbacks hover around the ball. Like Dylan Edwards would be a fullback that would naturally be around the ball looking for support. But Reece Walsh can go, no, I don't need to do that because I'm more of a threat out wide with my pace. If I get the ball in the middle of the rock, like I'll get shut down. I won't have the time to accelerate. I'll make a bit of an impact. But they know that's where being a instinct team comes, where Reece Walsh can flirt out wide, ready in shape to pull the trigger on a shift, or the shift doesn't need to come like a block for block, or middle forwards have got an offload. Then he just goes, right, I'm out of shape, I'm up here, give me the ball. Gets nice and wide, and that's where he uses his pace.
Is it going to be hard for them to play that style of footy against Penrith, though? And also with the pressure on, because a lot of what they do is so it has so much swagger about it, and I just hope that they don't go into their shell in the big moments.
I don't think they will. And this is gonna to those talking points. It's look back from the game or both games on the weekend. So Melbourne had a couple of opportunities against Penrith. Brisbane take them. Brisbane nail them. They ice them. They convert them into points. But on the Brisbane Broncos against the Warriors game, the Broncos against the Warriors, Broncos can't start like they did. Like a couple of sets, the Warriors were making inroads. Wade Egan. Now I know Penrith don't have a hooker like Wade Egan, but they allowed Egan to jump out of dummy half, and it won't be Egan, but it'll be Isaiah Yeo, Leota, and Fisher Harris in behind the ruck. And if they lose that, Cleary kicks on the front foot under no pressure. Good luck. But also, the Warriors jump the lead. You can't allow Penrith to do that. So they went 4-0, 4-all, 8-4. But Penrith, Cleary's going to get those conversions. So if that, you just can't afford for that to happen. Like if Penrith get out to a lead, they'll choke you out. And for the Warriors, it is for the Broncos, it's a difficult predicament to be in, because yes, you want to play your style, but playing your style against this team that if you make one mistake, you're not going to be in positions to play your style for a long time. So managing that time without the football, I believe it's going to be a super hot day out there as well. So
it is, yeah.
Look for fatigue to set in, but then that's the same for both teams.
These players haven't been here very often, except for Adam Reynolds and Kurt Capewell. But the coach has been here numerous times. He's won 6 premierships as a player. And there was a scene after the game where he sculled a beer with Paddy Mills in the dressing sheds after the semi-final, the prelim final. And it was a sense of like, yeah, it's just another win, boys. Like, relax. Like, his demeanor was so relaxed and so calm. That would obviously transfer to the players. They can see that he's just like, oh yeah, this is good, boys. We're going great. Enjoy. Like, this is, we don't need to stress too much about it. We're in the grand final. Relax, celebrate, and then we'll go back to training a couple of days' time. Will his messaging, will that rub off on the players, that relaxed nature that he has, Kevy Walters, that like he's been there, done it? How can he sort of pass those messages on to the players? Yeah, well, it's him being himself, and undoubtedly he'll be nervous, but he's been there before as a player, like you say, winning it 6 times. So, and there's other experience within that group as well. Very experienced coaching staff. For the Broncos, it is new territory for them. Or a lot of the players, rather, the grand final breakfast, the dignitaries, and the sideshow of the grand final. Not the actual 80 minutes, but it's the sideshow. So it's important Brisbane get that right. Obviously Penrith, it's just another day. But yeah, that for me, it's more important for Brisbane this week and how they get their week right versus Penrith. Penrith know what they're doing, but this could make or break the Broncos. The build up could make or break them. So you're the captain. You're in there in the dressing sheds. What are the key messages for the boys? So what we did for the Penrith Panthers, the 3 bullet points. I think for the Broncos, the 3 bullet points, the 3 focus points before you go out. Boys, our power game and our offload. Middle 3, you guys have got to do your job. Like, you've got to believe you're better than Leota, Fisher Harris, and Isaiah Yeo. And all the talk will be, I back you guys. I back you against them. Middle 3, you are getting over those 3. The battle between the middles is going to be amazing to watch. It's very difficult to split. I think from an attacking point of view, and I say this even though the Panthers have Isaiah Yeo, I think slightly in favour of the Broncos. Right. Slightly. I think defensively, probably the Panthers, but I think with attack, I'm setting myself up for ridicule here. But I think that's the big focus. Dominate through that 3. Yeah. Get over those 3.
we're gonna need you here, lads. And like setting that challenge to Payne, Tom Flegler, and Patrick Carrigan. That's a big challenge for those three.
You know, just on that, I reckon James Fisher-Harris, Isaiah Yeo, Moses Leota will feel a little bit irked that none of them made the Dally M Team of the Year. Payne Haas is made the Team of the Year. Patrick Carrigan took Yo's spot. I know those awards don't mean that much to players, but like that would still irk you a little bit.
Yeah, you take that personally.
Yeah,
you definitely take that personally. But those Broncos got to go out there and prove why their middle three is discussed as the best middle three in the competition. And then a point about decision making, lads. Well, the shackles aren't off, or the shackles aren't on, but we need to ice those moments. 50-50s, maybe. Let's consider it. Back you all the way, Reece. Back you all the way, Ezra. Renault. Kevin Walters. Yeah, but let's think about our decisions. We need to game management, and that's a very dangerous message, playing with the heads. But I think it's important because Reece Walsh in the Warriors game throws an intercept, but it's water off a duck's back, right? Doesn't matter. Just cracks on, and then he goes and has a sublime game. But again, the Warriors allow them back in. Penrith, the anaconda that they are, choke you out. So there will be some messaging about decision making and 50-50s, 60-40s when it's needed. They don't need to blow this team away. They just need to win. And then for me, the focus on the Panthers for Brisbane, they, like I said about that middle three, I'd be focusing on when Lenu comes on. He's a genuine game changer for the Panthers, and he's what I think. In middle three versus middle three, I think that's what we forget is that the Panthers have got Lenu as well, sitting on the bench. Like that's, I think, as an overall, that's what probably slightly tips it in favour of the Panthers, because they've got that guy Lenu sitting there waiting to go, where the Broncos, with all due respect, their bench is a little bit less.
That's probably one of their weaknesses. It's a bit thinner.
There's not as much punch. There's not as much superstar. There's not as much stardom on the bench for the Broncos. With all due respect, there just isn't. Some of those names aren't banging down the door of in the same sense that Spencer Lenu is. So I think those players that when Lenu comes on have got to raise. They've got to rise. Like there's going to be a heap of information on how to negate Penrith, but the big focus point is everybody. Lenu's on. We've got to stop him. Chop from marker, because he can be a complete game changer. And it wouldn't surprise me to see the Broncos come out to a lead and then Lenu come on and see the Panthers sort of gain a bit more of an ascendancy. Yeah. So that's the three key take home messages three focus points before we go out.
So who does James Graham have winning the grand final then?
Well, mate, you know what? I feel like I've just talked myself into a Penrith win. But
I
know, I really have, haven't I? No, I'm going to stick with my gut and say the Broncos. There's something I really just like about them. And they're super hungry.
Yeah.
They're an exciting team. They're a team that I feel can beat this Panthers team. And I'll go with the Broncos.
And on Ladbrokes, I like on grand final, I like picking a Clive Churchill medalist from each club, because then, either way, team wins, you're a chance of getting it. If the Broncos win, who's your Clive Churchill medalist?
Adam Reynolds.
And if Penrith win, who's your Clive Churchill medalist?
Isaiah Yeo.
Good odds on Isaiah Yeo. $17 or something like that. It's great odds.
Mate, watch that come right in.
It's going to be a great game though, Jimmy, and I can't wait for it.
It is going to be a great game, Charlie. I hope it gives a little bit. Last year's grand final was going to be a great game, but Penrith, not party poopers, but they just played so well in those opening exchanges. And
to be honest, last year I reckon it was an easy game to build up because it was the Battle of the West, but I think everyone kind of knew Penrith were going to dominate. Really? I think they were like $1.20 odds going into the game or something. It's just the Battle of the West was easy to pump up, but
this is genuinely exciting. It's got all the recipes for a grand final classic. And obviously, usually when people talk like that, it doesn't happen.
Be Penrith 40-0.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
All right. Well, before we go, Jimmy, Rockbusters then. Have you got any idea?
Yeah. What was the clue again?
Your clue is a man's boy is sitting in an average car.
A man's boy
is sitting in an average car.
So it's something, a man's boy.
And then a herb in a shit colour for everyone but home. And what are we giving away? We'll give away another Tui's hat.
All right.
Yeah.
Really inspire the listeners to get their thinking.
And it can be signed or unsigned.
Signed or unsigned.
Adam wanted it signed, so we signed it for him.
They are nice hats, actually. If I was a hat wearer, which I'm not.
Yeah, you don't suit hats.
No, big head. Big head problems.
So you've got any idea?
On the Rockbusters?
Yeah.
A man's son is in a shit car.
An average car, but yeah, shit car. I guess you could say the same thing.
Oh, a man's boy.
A man's boy is sitting in an average car. Yeah, so it's obviously
something son. Johnson. No, go on.
Jason Saab. So a man's boy, Jay's son, Jason, is sitting in an average car, Saab. So that's there you go, guys. And then a herb in a shit colour.
Hang on.
That's an easy one, everyone at home. You got this.
A man's
boy.
A man's boy.
Is sitting in an average car. So Jay's son.
Where's the J?
Well, a man named Jay.
What, so I'm just supposed to know that a man is named Jay?
Well, yeah, you're meant to just go, the boy's the main clue there, son. So Jay's son.
No, but no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Charlie.
Everyone else would have got that.
No. But not through pure guesswork. And I think, the Saab thing.
The Saab would give it away. It wasn't a hard one, Jimmy. It wasn't a hard one.
They're going to get it through the Saab aspect. They're not going to get it through the J song, Jason. Yeah, but no, where's the J? Mate, whatever you do.
Well, is a man named Jay? Is Jay's a man name? It is, isn't it? A man's boy.
That is
son.
ridiculous.
Son Saab. Son Saab.
I'm sorry. Whatever you do, Charlie, don't give up this as a career to write crossword clues because that is complete bollocks.
Well, I won't be doing that, but a herb in a shit colour, that's an easy one. Can't believe you've got no idea about that as well. You're pathetic. That's it from us. Grand final. Plenty more to come on the bar round, though, during the off-season.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
See ya.